The ultimate battle between For Arendelle and Queen Elsa has officially begun. Venom, Carnage, Serpentine, Spiderman, Ironman, and Boneman will variously be slamming their fists into one another imminently. We got one It Was Then in the previous chapter, bringing us to a total of 38. Comment below what you think that number will round out to by the end of the story, which will be in another 4 episodes. If you have questions, comments, fanfiction submissions, fan art submissions, email all of that and more to fanficnight@orderoftheleague.com. This is Fanfiction Theater, a celebration of naive writing and all of its foibles, flaws, and unintentional hilarity.
The second that Venom, Spiderman, and Ironman collided in battle with Tyranis, Carnage, and Serpentine, it became an all-out dogfight. There's little airplanes. Venom and Carnage made a beeline for one another and began exchanging blows and throwing punches.
B-52 line.
What are blows if not punches? What is that implying there?
Oh, sorry, I got it.
They exchanged the blows. They wrapped them nicely in.
You might just need to keep doing that this whole chapter.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Serpentine leapt to the upper level of the chamber with Spiderman right on his tail. On his story tail.
On his DuckTales. Woo!
Closing in on his snake-like enemy, Spiderman shot some web catching him. Then, using that momentum, he yanked Serpentine off of the wall he was crawling up and sent him barreling down at full speed. While all of that was happening, Ironman began to work on Tyranis. Using his jetpacks, he flew into the air towards the Dark Lord and began releasing a salvo of rockets at him. However, when the missiles closed in on their target, Tyranis raised his right hand, forming a magical force field protecting him from the impact. Ironman flew over him and swooped back toward his target for a second attack. Unfortunately, when Ironman got close enough, Tyranis turned his force field into an attack. He used its energy and turned it into a force push, causing Ironman to collide with a nearby pillar. Walking slowly to him, Tyranis mocked.
Nice try, little man of iron, but you underestimate my power.
He then took his walking staff and pointed it towards him, releasing a raging inferno at him. However, Ironman managed to get up just in time and used his built-in flamethrower, blocking his attack completely.
I'll take my
I picture him
any
blocking this out with his action figures.
Yeah. That is exactly what Spitfire just said in the chat.
Oh.
Almost word for word.
I'll take my science over your sorcery any day.
Ironman shot back at him. That's actually a pretty good Ironman line, I think.
Well, let's see how your physics fares against my biology.
So, of course, Ironman has worked with Thor and but whatever, anyway. Serpentine hissed after he managed to break free of Spider-Man's web and engage Ironman. That was when, I think that counts, Spider-Man used his web powers and enhanced strength to grab a giant piece of stone and slung it at Tyranis.
Slung it?
Yeah, slung it. He slung it real hard,
I need
yo.
a ding. Should have set up a ding for. I'll just use a to celebrate the It Was Them.
Epic.
By some miracle, the Dark Lord didn't see what was
for the stone that he threw.
Didn't see what was flying towards him as it smashed into him. Carnage, who managed to break away from Venom, said,
I'd like to see you try that with me, Spidey.
As he swung over to Spiderman and began fighting with him. Taking the opportunity he had, Venom swung over to Elsa and broke her chains, freeing her. Elsa wrapped her arms around him and exclaimed,
Eddie, you allied yourself with your worst enemy Spiderman just to save me?
With a hint of flattery in her voice. Man, she went back to useless damsel real fast here. Quickly making his own face appear. He hugged her back, saying,
Kristoff and Anna should be here soon.
I want all of you to get out of here and get to safety.
Elsa quickly protested, saying,
Eddie, I can't leave you. I've done something very bad to you earlier, and I need to help you.
As Eddie looked confused at her, she tried to explain.
Earlier, when I accidentally froze your hearts, I caused something to happen.
I just want to point out it's accidentally.
Oh, when I accidentally... What did I say?
Yeah, accidentally.
Sorry.
I just
apologize.
It's these little things, these little things that give me joy, all right? But before she could finish, Venom's sixth sense picked up on something coming toward them. Letting the symbiote cover his face again, he quickly grabbed Elsa in time to dodge a ball of flame. The flaming energy slammed into the stone wall they were in front of. One word, so there was a gay bar nearby.
Yeah.
The flaming energy slammed into the stone wall they were in front of only moments before and obliterated it completely.
Oh my God.
Now we know what happened. Before the debris stopped flying and the smoke cleared, Venom gently led Elsa to a hiding spot and turned his attention back to Tyranis. As everything settled and they were able to see each other, Venom said,
You should have stayed in that mirror. No magic will save you from us.
"How did he know that he came out of the mirror?"
He saw a broken mirror. You two together.
No, the mirror wasn't broken.
It unbroke itself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the scene from Constantine that it reminded me of. Sorry. Go ahead.
Venom quickly shot out some web and then slung into battle with Tyranis. Although the Dark Master,
surprise.
although the Dark Master was by far the most powerful, Venom was still a worthy adversary. Eventually, Venom shot some web on his enemy's face, temporarily blinding him. He quickly kicked his feet out from under him, knocking Tyranis off balance and falling to the
Spitfire
ground.
said this chapter turns X-rated. I thought that was a joke.
Then, with blinding speed, he shot out some more web and grabbed a fallen pillar and pulled it over to him. He lifted it over his head and brought it down on Tyranis. However, the Dark Lord quickly swung his staff at it and destroyed the pillar with its mysterious power. Then, before Venom could react, Tyranis struck him with the staff, sending him flying across the chamber and smashing into another wall. The stone wall collapsed on top of Eddie Brock, covering him with a pile of broken stone. Meanwhile, Elsa worked up the courage to emerge from her hiding place. As she saw Venom smash into the wall, she yelled,
Eddie!
and attempted to attack Tyranis with her ice powers.
Oh, wow.
She's silent. Yeah, it takes her a while to warm up. She, or cool down, as the case may be.
Once you taste the icicle, you never go back.
She silently
You would prefer some peanut brittle.
I was gonna go for it's no longer good enough with the pickle. I don't know. She silently hoped and prayed that she bought Venom plenty of time to emerge from the wreckage and finish off Tyranis. She quickly shot out an ice flurry from her hand and struck Tyranis in the back with it. Getting back up, he looked over to the Queen, and flames began to spout from his mouth and eyes in anger.
Blue
Oh, wait,
or just
are
regular flames?
Are these his skeleton eyes and mouth, or are these his regular eyes and mouth?
I think both.
Okay.
This is Tyranis.
You've outlived your usefulness, and now you shall receive no mercy from me, your highness.
Does this count as it was then? It was in that moment.
I'm
the Snow
count
Queen. The Snow Queen.
Definitely a cousin, at least.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was in that moment the Snow Queen was literally in a fight for her life. Very necessary sentence. Meanwhile, Spiderman and Carnage were locked in an intense battle on the other side of the chamber. I can't believe that Spiderman just isn't even funny to me anymore. There's just so much Spiderman.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting out.
That's Spiderman. Oh, everything's Spiderman. Oh.
Everybody loves the Spiderman.
Shooting out some of his tendrils, Carnage grabbed Spiderman by the legs and yanked him across the room. Once he had him in range, Carnage formed his blade hands and attempted to bring them down on Spiderman. However, the superhero got free of the tendrils and kicked Carnage in the chest and rolled out of the way before the blades came down. He got back on his feet and punched Carnage in the face several times and once again dodged his blade hands. Carnage continued to wildly swing his blade arms at Spider-Man, hoping to hit him. Thanks to his superhuman speed, the hero managed to dodge the swings. Mostly. Carnage eventually scored its...
Except for the one that cut off his head.
Carnage eventually scored a small cut on Spider-Man's left arm.
Score!
I like how he's like, I gotta give him something. Spider-Man quickly backflipped away from Carnage and inspected the wound. Thankfully, the cut was just a small scratch and didn't inflict any major harm on it.
Well, I'm glad I spent 2 minutes looking at this small scratch.
Let me get my Neosporin. Hold on.
Ow, ow, ow. Hold on. Time out. Meanwhile, Carnage released one of his high-pitched evil laughs and mocked,
Don't worry, man. There's more to come.
Taking his chances, Spider-Man grabbed Carnage's legs with his web powers and said,
Let's give you a taste of your own medicine.
He then quickly jerked Carnage into the air and slammed him to the ground at full force. Carnage frantically slashed the web with his claws and flew at Spider-Man,
For comics physics.
continuing the fight. There's a lot of like boom, boing things in this. Kristoff and Anna eventually made it to the castle and parked the sleigh outside. That's right. They were
Really sweet spot. It's like right outside where they wanted to go.
It's too late in the day, and so they have to park in the Olaf lot, and it's no good.
Yeah.
That's my attempt at making a Disneyland parking joke, having never seen Frozen, so hopefully that worked.
It worked.
While he and Anna got off and began running... Whoa.
There's a lot of that in this chapter.
I mean,
A lot
we're
of
late
jerking of
already.
Carnage and shooting web on Carnage's face. And
We're late already. What's a few more minutes? While he and Anna got off and began running toward the castle, he looked back to Olaf and Sven yelling.
stay here
Wait,
and
is
watch the
Sven
sun.
yelling? Or is Kristoff yelling?
I think Kristoff is yelling at Sven. He's yelling at his reindeer to stay here and watch the sleigh.
Oh, Sven's the reindeer.
Yes.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
So Sven's got his harness halfway off and goes, oh,
Yeah.
starts putting it back on.
Stay here and watch the sleigh. If things don't go the way we want them, then we'll need to get away.
That's right.
Makes sense.
Oh, that was
After-
probably from Frozen 3, right?
Eh. After 10 minutes of wandering down twisting corridors, they eventually
I
made it
wonder
into
where this
Serpentine's
twisting corridor leads.
Serpentine's laboratory.
Yeah.
Looking at the equipment, Anna wondered aloud.
What is this place?
Before Kristoff could speak sounds of battle,
It's about to speak some sounds of battle at you.
I was like, what? And it's like, okay. It's
That CD, I play it when I go to sleep.
it's I grieve for the poor comma that didn't make it to that sentence. Before Kristoff could speak, sounds of battle echoed from an open doorway and down a long hallway.
Come on, I bet Elsa's in there.
Kristoff said. The two of them quickly ran out of the room and down the long corridor. It was then they found the chamber and the chaotic battle being had. Spider-Man and Carnage were on one side of the chamber while Serpentine and Ironman were fighting on the other. Then Anna pointed and yelled,
Where are we?
It's just
it's
Elsa.
just Elsa,
Elsa!
when she saw the monstrous Tyranis going after her. Meanwhile, the Dark Lord shot out flames from his staff and blasted the Inferno toward Elsa.
Meanwhile, in that
Thankfully-
exact scene just
I know,
described.
At the same
he
time.
loves doing that. Meanwhile, something reacted. Thankfully, the Snow Queen raised her hands and blasted her ice flurries out to meet the flames. As the two elemental attacks were at a standstill, Tyranis said,
I like how it's just ice flurries against
Right,
his
right, yeah.
flamethrower.
It's kind of spitting.
like her face is melted off, but she's holding her own.
There's a few snowflakes wafting his way.
You're only putting off the inevitable. It shall be easier to just give up.
I decree it. You have to decree it and believe it in your heart.
Just give up and be consumed by the flames.
Soon you'll be standing inside the fire like the great hit from Disturbed. I don't know. I'm just like, I keep looking for like metal to put in
Right,
there. Anyway,
yeah.
suddenly something slammed into Tyranis, attacking him. Looking up to see his enemy, Tyranis saw it was Venom.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I
Pretty much
forgot
what
you
I
were
expected.
fighting me too.
Way to keep that suspense for a whole half sentence.
You just signed your own death warrant. All bets are off now.
Venom said as he picked him up and slung him across the room with unnatural speed. Within seconds, the symbiote was on him and proceeded to batter him.
believe that's what the kids call a yeet.
He proceeded to batter him. He's going to throw him in a deep fat fryer. He balled up both of his fists and began to bring them down on Tyranis' face when his body violently convulsed from the mysterious pain again. Eddie rolled over onto the ground, screaming from the intense pain as he turned back into his human form. As Tyranis watched Eddie Brock hold his heart and writhe from the pain, a devious smile formed on his face.
Well, you probably shouldn't be holding your heart. Maybe that's the problem.
It's almost complete.
The Dark Lord said as he watched Venom.
Eddie, no!
Elsa yelled as she tried to run to his aid. Kristoff quickly caught her and said,
Don't be stupid, Elsa. Tyrannis will kill you when you get close enough. God, you moron. What, are you going to throw some flurries at him?
I love that your Kristoff is just unaffected by everything. You know,
Yeah.
he's just like, hey, you want to catch some waves after this?
Hey, moron.
However, Elsa continued to fight to get to Eddie Brock to save him. Meanwhile, Tyranis got back up and stood over Eddie, saying,
I can feel the darkness in your heart fighting to escape Eddie Brock. Let your hatred for humanity and your lust for vengeance take over. Shatter the bonds of love and kindness from your soul and lose yourself.
please enjoy the
In the
7th
news.
grade goth stylings of Tyranis.
Yep.
Right after he said that, Venom got on his knees, holding his head between his hands, screaming. Elsa finally got out of Kristoff's hold and ran to Eddie's side. And much to everyone's shock, Tyranis didn't attack her. Instead, he taunted her, saying,
Reading the chat, that is 100% metal lyrics, and just lose it. Go crazy. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Instead, he taunted her, saying, It's over, Elsa. It's over. Venom is mine.
Meanwhile, Elsa was kneeling by Eddie Brock, beseeching,
Please,
Beseeching.
Eddie, you have to fight it. Don't give in.
However, the symbiote began to consume him and something was wrong. When Eddie became Venom this time, he looked very different than usual. The 2 white marks on his symbiote face, representing his eyes, had turned a dark red, along with the 2 large spider symbols on his chest and back. Elsa could feel the darkness pulsate from Venom as he slowly rose to his feet and looked at her.
Sure.
Has this author forgotten that Spiderman and Ironman were in this fight? Did they get taken down?
Yeah, I think he did.
What's happening with
They're
Iron Man?
fighting each
That
other.
would be a tasty. That would be a tasty meanwhile opportunity. Really, that would
yeah.
good use of meanwhile.
Spitfire says, meanwhile, on the other side of the conversation. He really does use meanwhile like a reverse shot.
Yeah.
Eddie, please. We need you.
Suddenly, the symbiote answered,
There is no more Eddie. Now there's only Venom.
After he said that, Venom launched himself across the room towards Spiderman and Carnage. Elsa's heart plummeted after hearing that. Could Eddie truly be gone? Thankfully, Tyranis had lost interest in her for the moment and followed Eddie Brock across the room. Elsa felt a tear roll down her cheek as she watched the corrupted Venom close in on Spiderman. Meanwhile, Anna and Kristoff ran up to her and said,
Okay, so this is a dual person line, so we gotta say it together.
It's not over until it's over. There's still time to save him.
Wiping the tear from her face, Elsa asked,
But how?
Anna pointed to her heart and said,
The same time as last time, sis. As an act of an act of true love. I am tired, my God.
But it's just the same as last time, but yeah.
Same as last time, sis.
Motorboating. Meanwhile, Carnage had formed a sledgehammer and was about to slam Spiderman with it when Venom appeared grabbing his hammer hand. As the sledgehammer morphed back into his regular symbiote hand, Carnage remarked,
I like the new look, bro.
Venom gave an evil smile as he looked over to the superhero saying,
It's the end of the line for you, Spiderman. Hey, mountain boy, ever played whack-a-mole?
Then he launched one of his blades forward to kill her while attempting to bring the other blade arm down on her head.
Kill him.
The darkness inside of him screamed.
To be continued.